Welcome again, everybody, to Hot Plate Madness. Jen is not here. It's James today because James is presenting Gooey grilled ham and cheese. And James, you tell me, what do you do here? You're kind of hanging out here with us.
My job here is basically custodian-wise. I clean up after the place, make sure everything's clean, make sure customers know where to go when they need to be somewhere.
So some of the disasters that we created here on Hot Plate Madness, you sometimes have to come in and clean up then.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Nice. Very nice. But today, you are going to help us create some grilled cheese. And how do we do that? We start with, we've got bread, we've got some ham here, we've got some Swiss and sharp cheddar cheese, and I see there's butter there. So what's the first step?
The first step would to be grab 2 pieces of bread for the sandwich.
Okay. So I've got wheat bread here. There's 2 pieces.
And what you want to do, sometimes what I do, is I flip the other side of the piece of bread around so it kind of meets in the middle. So
okay.
It's that high part.
All right.
But what we want to do first is to butter up one side of the bread. So when we do that, we want to grab the butter knife and the butter. We open that up. And it's brand new butter.
Yeah, no, I bought that just today because I didn't want to use some old crappy butter with like granules of stuff in it.
Yeah.
Or the worst, James, is when somebody has like some sort of jelly or something, and they do like a jelly sandwich, and then they want butter on it, but then they take the jelly knife and they stick it into your butter, and so you have bits of jelly in there. Totally lame. Don't ever do that.
It's totally lame.
All right, so you're buttering that side. Now, is the idea, right, of buttering this, then, is we're going to end up using that as kind of like an oil base to fry that on? Is that right?
Yes, it's easier to cook the bread on a pan with butter, otherwise it'll just burn.
Okay, all right, so that's some knowledge. And you're dropping that kind of knowledge because kind of your long-term career plan is maybe being a chef someday.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah. Heading into Job Corps sometime this month or next month.
Oh.
And continuing my lifelong dream of becoming a chef.
Well, cool. So Job Corps maybe this month, next month for culinary arts then, right?
Yes.
Cool.
So after we get one side buttered, we're going to want to go ahead and stick that piece on the pan.
Oh, you're sticking it on right now. Okay, so we've got the pan heated up.
Before we put it on there, so we don't overcook it when we're cooking it, we want to go ahead and open up 1 pack or maybe 2 packs of cheese to go ahead and put it on there.
Okay.
Directly after we put it on the pan.
Okay, this is way more complicated than I thought it was going to be. But that's okay, right? Because you're going to be the chef. And I'm opening this cheese. I seriously am. I know what I'm doing. Okay, so there's the cheddar. Now, do we want? So you're going to do? Are we going to do both types of cheese? One on one side and one on the other side?
Yes. For our first sandwich, we'll have.
All right.
2 different types.
Okay.
So.
Wow, that looks like it's smoking hot. Look at that.
Oh yeah, definitely. This will not
That's
take
maybe too
long.
hot. Let's turn that down a little. Or wait, I'm turning it up. All right, so that maybe is too hot, but go ahead and toss it on there. Let's see what happens.
So the best thing for you to do, especially in a pan like this, since it comes up, you're going to have the middle piece, which is, this is already starting to melt because of the heat, but you want to put that in the middle.
Okay.
That nice sizzling. Right
wow,
there.
that certainly went right away.
And what you want to do is you want to take 1 piece of cheddar or any kind of cheese and just place it right there in the middle.
Okay.
And while we're waiting for that to cook up a little bit, if you want to put some ham on there.
So put the ham on there now? Okay.
Yep. And while that's going on, I shall butter the other piece of bread.
Okay. And how much ham do you think I should put on there?
Well, it depends on what you like. If you like cheese, you don't want to put too much ham on there, or just not put any ham on there at all, but 2 to 3 pieces should be fine for our first
2 to 3 pieces. Okay. So I'm going to do 3 pieces.
And when I'm cooking this, as you may notice, I'm keeping some of the edges unbuttered or lightly buttered so you can have a crisper outer layer.
So you are like punching me in the face with some knowledge right there. Is that what's happening? Because I wouldn't have even thought about that. I would have just totally buttered the whole thing and just threw it on there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on what you like for your sandwiches.
Oh, that's great.
So what you want to do is you want to take the other piece of cheese, whether it's cheddar or Swiss. You just want to lay it right there on top of there. And you go ahead and just close this up. I'll just burn myself.
Welcome to our little hot plate show, right? You're supposed to like injure yourself at least once on the show. So now, when do I know when to turn this guy over?
Well, when you want to find that out, you just go and just try to grab out from under there and check the underside.
I think that thing's probably ready to turn.
Yep. And so what you want to do is you want to carefully flip it. Sweet. And just push it back towards the middle.
And so by the buttering of it, you've got this kind of nice, oh, that's nice and crisp right there.
Yeah.
So that's perfect. And then the other side, we're going to probably start seeing some of the cheese melting out and things like that. Right?
Hopefully.
And then that's basically a sandwich that's ready to eat.
Yeah.
At that point.
I mean, at this heat right here, I'm not entirely sure. Because it's been too hot, might be too hot.
Might be too hot, and so you got to be careful that it doesn't burn.
Yeah, because if it's too hot, it'll just cook the bread and the cheese won't be able to melt.
Okay. You are like the knowledge master right now today.
Well, I mean, it's just grilled cheese.
Well, it is just grilled cheese, but, that's the little don't butter it all the way to the edge thing, and then the whole thing about it maybe won't melt the cheese if you don't have the oven set, or the hot plate set right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was making a joke about how, James, you coming on the show here isn't going to help your culinary career at all, but maybe you should be on the show a lot more because you're dropping some knowledge. Although, look, it's kind of melting a little bit right there.
Yep, right there at the edges, you can see it melting. And we want to go ahead and check the bottom. See, that is nice and crisp.
Okay.
So what we want to do is go ahead and check. Open that. Yeah, it's nice and melty.
Yeah, you got some goo there going, so I, of course, did not bring any plates. That is completely appropriate. Welcome to our little show, James, where I don't bring the plates.
Well, if you want to grab some plates, there's some out there.
I'm going to go grab some plates.
But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and set this on the edge of our board right here. And go ahead and get another one set up. So again, you just want to grab 2 pieces of bread. And it's always better to have them kind of have the tip point right here in the middle so that it covers more of the sandwich and you don't really have any edges sticking out. As you see right here, this piece of bread right here is a little bigger than this one. But it's all good, it's a sandwich. It's not always going to be perfect. And like I said before, it's just a grilled cheese sandwich. And if you want to add some tomato sauce to it, some tomato soup to it, that adds a nice flavor to it. And especially if you want to use the tomato soup for dipping it into. I always loved doing that when I was a kid. Always grilled cheese and tomato soup, and macaroni and cheese, and hamburgers, and even had some hamburger inside the macaroni and cheese.
So really, the title of this show being James Presents is totally accurate, because you just were on a roll right there when I was gone.
Yeah.
It's like, is there any point for me to even be here anymore?
Well, you're always...
All right, so there's some plates.
All right, so as we have this on here, I just grab that and put that on that plate right there.
Well, now I could probably try it, though, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to try this. Yep. That method that she did with the bread, or the butter, is great because, yeah, it's nice and crispy. It's got that...
You always want to have...
kind of toasted thing, but not overly toasted, right? It's
yeah. Now, there's going to be some instances in which maybe you don't want any meat. Maybe you only have one type of bread. And that's totally fine. Or not one type of bread, I apologize. One type of cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And that's totally fine. It's always nice to get creative with this. Or maybe you don't have any meat and you just want to mix the cheeses.
Right. Well, and it's funny because I was thinking we would just do grilled cheese stuff, but then I'm like, well, we got to do something more than that.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason I put the ham in there, but, it's dang good, right?
Yeah. Now, if you, my advice for if you want to have just the 2 cheeses, you want to do it star-shaped. And the way to do that is just have one like this. And I used to work at McDonald's, so I used to make the sandwiches, and I already know how the star shape goes. The Big Mac has a lot of star shapes. But you want to go ahead and...
then you're going to do the opposite, the different way.
Yes.
Do you want that on now?
Yeah, that would probably be better.
What if you have Swiss cheese and it's all freaked out?
Well,
then you can't really do a star.
Doesn't matter,
It's going to kind of be like
much.
that.
Yeah. You always got that edge right there. But, you know, that's the part of being creative. You know, you could always just imagine that that side's right there.
I think this is my favorite episode ever. That's a good sandwich. I didn't have to do much of anything. It was really simple. You're just bopping right along here.
And, you know, you'll see right here as some of the bread kind of tears up when you're pushing it. What I do is I just kind of push it back. You know, it kind of fills up the cracks and the holes. So you have, you know, like what I did there, nice and buttery and crispy, and it gets down to the core of the sandwich and the core of the piece of bread. So you don't want to have too much butter on it because that's not too good for the sandwich. It's just kind of weird and
would make it
overly
kind
butty.
of soggy, kind of maybe a little.
Yeah, too soggy. It'll flip flop. But this has been on here for a bit, so let's go ahead and check the bottom, which is nice and crispy.
Cool.
And you want to go ahead and just flip it.
Like that. And again, perfect. You've got the time down on those things, so that's perfect.
And there's also going to be instances in which you might, if you like a smaller sandwich or a skinnier sandwich, you can just take that, just kind of push it down. It cooks it a tiny bit faster, but the cheese will melt slower because excess heat will be stored into the piece of bread, which will just heat up the piece of bread instead of the actual cheese.
Wow. So this was like some serious knowledge about something as simple as grilled cheese and ham.
I mean, when you think of cooking, it's like a science, but with food.
Yes, it is. You know, the ultimate show, I think, of our hot plate show would be you and then Sean, the other master chef, doing the show at the same time. That could be something really
I don't
cool.
really think I'm a master.
Well, you're certainly a master here with this, up-and-coming master, anyway. But hey, James, thanks so much for showing us these techniques and joining us today on the show. I'm certain we will have you back on at some point in the future.
I would appreciate coming back on.
Awesome. That's also the first time we've ever heard that. So, James, thanks so much. Hey, try this at home. Let us know how you like it, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.